The Washington Redskins entered their game with the New York Giants chomping at the bit, eager to put an end to the Giants' mastery over them. New York had won the last 4 games between these two clubs, and for most of the day they seemed quite capable of extending that string to 5. New York defensive tackle Troy Archer, number 77, was all over Redskin quarterback Joe Theismann as he continually harassed him all afternoon. Archer was also responsible for the only Giant touchdown, a fumble recovery that gave New York a 13-6 fourth period lead. But the resilient Redskins tied the contest with only a minute to play, then won it in overtime 16-13. Kicker Mark Mosley missed one field goal attempt early in the extra period, but did not fail the second time around. The win keeps Washington on top in the torrid NFC Eastern race, a scramble that was expected to be tough. But most experts did not feel that way about the NFC West, expecting an easy Los Angeles Rams runaway. Instead, both the Saints and the Falcons have been in hot pursuit for the Western title. Last week, they played each other in an interesting battle for second place. The Saints jumped to a 17-3 lead, making full use of their excellent passing game and the bounce of the football. But in this game, the ball bounced more favorably for Atlanta. Just before the half, the Falcons called for a play known as the Big Ben Right, where a secondary receiver literally bats the ball to a teammate off a long bomb. This volleyball trickery seemed to work as Atlanta went in for an apparent score. However, the pass was ruled incomplete, and a penalty was called as well to wipe the play out. Undaunted, Atlanta narrowed the score to 17-13, then called Big Ben Right once more with only 19 seconds to play. This time, Big Ben went off like clockwork. If you're keeping score, that was Bartkowski to Francis to Jackson. The 57-yard touchdown Curio gave the Falcons a 20-17 victory, their 5th win in a row. With the rigorous part of their schedule just about completed, Atlanta must now seriously be considered as a possible playoff representative, something they have never been in their 13-year existence. San Diego is a vacationer's paradise, and it hasn't been too bad to the Kansas City Chiefs either. Kansas City had beaten the hometown Chargers 6 consecutive times in San Diego Stadium, and we're out to win another with help from players like running back Arnold Morgado, number 21. However, the Chargers now have something they didn't have in all those losses. Wide receiver John Jefferson, number 83. He caught 2 touchdowns and had 7 receptions in all to help San Diego stay ahead. Still, the Chiefs did not go down easily, sending the game into overtime on a last-second field goal. San Diego coach Don Coryell then rallied his troops for the overtime. And after both teams had fumbled the ball away within field goal range, the Chargers got it back and were on the Chiefs' 14-yard line with just 4 seconds left. Here, quarterback Dan Fouts hit Jefferson for the winning score. Many wondered why the Chargers did not go for a field goal, a play with a better chance for success than a last-second pass. Now it can be told. Fouts lost track of the time, thinking the 30-second clock was the game clock. When Dan saw 28 seconds, he assumed he had time for one more pass attempt, then a field goal if necessary. Actually, there was no time left, so an incomplete pass would have ended the affair in a tie. But this time, Dan Fouts and the Chargers were lucky, as they escaped with a 29-23 win. With quarterback Terry Bradshaw in rare form, Pittsburgh Steelers coach Chuck Noll couldn't be happier. Last Sunday in the slippery Los Angeles Coliseum, Bradshaw gave each of his talented wide receivers a chance to work his personal specialty. In the case of number 82, John Stallworth, that specialty is running with the ball after the catch. On the other side, Pittsburgh has Lynn Swann, famous for his leaping ability and sure hands. Against the Rams, Swann and Stallworth accounted for most of Pittsburgh's offense as the Steelers assumed a 7-3 lead. But while Pittsburgh's pass catchers were running their routes, the Ram pass rush was running roughshod. The NFC's leading defense allowed the Steelers only 7 points. Meanwhile, Los Angeles' runners pounded away at the steel curtain, controlling the ball on the ground most of the final 2 periods while awaiting that one big scoring opportunity. Then late in period 4, that opportunity presented itself, and quarterback Pat Haden took advantage. Number 82, Willie Miller, scored the game winner as Los Angeles overcame the Pittsburgh Steelers 10-7. The Rams aren't the most exciting team around, and their methods often draw criticism from their fans. But they're winning proof that patience is still an important element in winning football games. Patience, something you would think Baltimore quarterback Burt Jones would know something about considering his fragile condition. But Burt continues to play as if each down will decide the Super Bowl, and he continues to suffer for it. The penalty assessed against the Seahawks on this play was little consolation, for Burt Jones' convalescing shoulder was re-injured. Fortunately for Baltimore, Jones left the Colts with a slim lead, but in the end, both teams lost a little. Seattle dropped both the argument and the game 17-14, while Burt Jones lost another night's sleep to his ailing shoulder. Another quarterback suffering through hard times is Denver's Craig Morton, though his problems are of a different nature. Morton's decline parallels that of the Broncos in '78, as one opponent after another has taken a measure of Denver's pride. But last Sunday in Cleveland, Craig Morton reached back for one of his better efforts of the season. '78 has taken its toll on the defending AFC champions. But last Sunday in Cleveland, Denver won a must game 19-7. Still, one must wonder how much this team will have left for the stretch drive to the playoffs. But while the Broncos may be running out of steam, Ron Jaworski and the Philadelphia Eagles are just beginning to roll. Last Sunday against the Jets, Jaworski threw 2 perfect scoring passes. Number 17, Harold Carmichael, is a tough target to miss. Towering 80 inches above the earth, Carmichael has the reach to go up high as well as the good hands to survive close encounters in the corner. In the absence of running star Wilbert Montgomery, Carmichael has become a pivotal figure in the Eagles' resurgence, and his 6'8" frame is one big reason the Eagles are 6-5 and still in contention for the playoffs. But in San Francisco, there is no playoff talk, for O.J. Simpson is out of commission. With O.J. sidelined, 49er fans have little to get excited about. Last week against St. Louis, the 49ers added yet another dismal chapter to their woeful 1978 story. It's tough when things are going bad. Tempers tend to get out of control and frustrations tend to surface, neither of which does wonders for a team's concentration. While the 49ers buried themselves with mistakes, Jim Hart and the St. Louis Cardinals enjoyed another week of good execution. Three weeks ago, the Cardinals were winless, and many considered a perfect season well within their reach. But St. Louis pulled it together, while San Francisco let things slip away. Thus did the 49ers lose their 10th. But by game's end, there weren't many folks around to notice. Feared once again, the Minnesota Vikings, those ruthless warlords of the Northland, seem to be carving themselves control of the NFC Central Division once more. Last Sunday, in typical Viking fashion, Minnesota coasted to a lead, then let the Chicago Bears and Walter Payton scratch, claw, and helplessly strain in an effort to catch up. Payton brought the Bears to within 3 points of a tie in the third quarter. However, each following opportunity met with disastrous results. As usual, Chicago had their chances, but in the end, Minnesota won this divisional showdown 17-14. If it can be said that Minnesota has reverted to form, the same may be said of the Green Bay Packers. Youthful spirit has carried the Green Gang far this season, but against the still so much to prove Dallas Cowboys, they learned how much farther they must go. For the first time since their opener, Dallas did just as they wished, rushing to a club record of 313 yards, while Roger Staubach added 200 more through the air. Over 500 yards of total offense opened a 42-14 rout, as Dallas finally looked like the defending world champions. It was the most impressive Cowboy performance of an otherwise alarming season, and it may be a sign of things to come. No team in football appears to be as loose and confident as the Detroit Lions, a particular irony considering this is the same team that lost 6 of their first 7 games. Indeed, there were times against Tampa Bay last Sunday, Detroit looked every bit like the team that had played so poorly in the season's earlier showings. But the Lions are an improved team, and Tampa Bay's offense found initial success short-lived. Detroit was able to diagnose the problem, then find a remedy. Their cure is called a pass rush, and with 39 sacks, believe it or not, no one in the NFL does it better than Detroit's Silver Rush. The Lions sacked Buccaneers quarterbacks 8 times by using a variety of stunts. On many occasions, defensive tackle Doug English took an outside charge and tied up 2 blockers, leaving a clear path for rookie Bubba Baker, number 60. Baker totaled 5 sacks of his own, bringing his season count to an impressive 20. However, defense wasn't the most encouraging aspect for Detroit on this day. Since Monty Clark became head coach, everyone has been waiting to see signs of a Clark trademark, precise execution in the offensive line. Against Tampa Bay, there were finally glimpses. A solid double team by the center Larry Terry and guard Lynn Bowden was followed by a crisp trap block by guard Homer Elias. This enabled Horace King to explode into a startled Buccaneers secondary. To complete the 75-yard run, King got further help when Freddie Scott and Dexter Bussey took out the final obstacle to the end zone. This touchdown run, the longest in the NFL this season, broke open a tight contest and allowed the Lions the luxury of coasting behind 2 Gary Danielson touchdown passes to tight end David Hill. The final was a not as close as it seemed to be, 34-23 Laffer, and proved to be a victory that turned the Pontiac Silverdome into an 80,000-seat disco. Whether it's called the Detroit Hustle, the Motor City Bump, or the Lion Two-Step, it still isn't ready for the NFC Central Ball, where the Viking Waltz prevails. However, for the first time in years, it finally seems as though the Lions are learning the steps together as a team. After defeating the Super Bowl champion Dallas Cowboys a week ago and having defeated these Buffalo Bills 17 straight times over nearly a decade, one can excuse the Dolphins for a little lackadaisical play. Number 54, Randy McClanahan's 63-yard fumble return provided a temporary lift for the 3-7 Bills. And Buffalo quarterback Joe Ferguson took advantage of the good fortune by nailing number 82, Frank Lewis, for the score. Since the departure of O.J. Simpson, the Bill running attack has been surprisingly effective, partly due to number 47, Curtis Brown, who gained 114 yards on the day. But Brown's efforts were overshadowed by the premier running back in the NFL, Miami's number 24, Delvin Williams. Not the most massive back in the league at 6 feet 197 pounds, Williams relies on crisp cutting and blazing outside speed to get him big yardage. The offensive line of Miami as well deserves a great deal of credit, as Williams became the first back to gain over 1,000 yards this year, collecting nearly 150 against outclassed Buffalo. A Bob Greasy to Nat Moore touchdown pass gave the Dolphins a league record 18 straight wins over Buffalo, 25-24, and placed them in a tie with the Patriots for the AFC East Division lead. Extremely confident after winning 7 straight, New England coach Chuck Fairbanks offered to eat all 10 gallons worth of Houston coach Bum Phillips' hat if the Oilers could defeat his Patriots in Foxborough. Unfortunately, Fairbanks was not aware that the hat was magic and that Bum planned on extracting a little hocus-pocus from it sometime in the course of the game. For the Patriots, magic was not necessary, as crisp passing and hard-nosed running has been their winning formula in 1978. If the Patriots were to achieve a club record 8 straight victories by defeating Houston, they knew they'd have to penetrate the Oiler defense early and often, which is exactly what quarterback Steve Grogan and number 86 Stanley Morgan did. The nippy New England weather could not chill the hot Patriots, as they scored the first 5 times they touched the ball, building up an embarrassing 23-7 halftime lead over harassed Houston. But the Oilers are a team with character, and 6 of their 7 wins this year were come-from-behind efforts. Consequently, the Oilers owned the second half, allowing New England only 2 first downs the rest of the way, scoring 3 touchdowns themselves, 2 by inspired Rob Carpenter, number 26. It was time for Bum to resort to the abracadabra of his magic hat, as an apparent field goal attempt was mysteriously transformed into an 18-yard Oiler first down. Down by 3 with less than 3 minutes to play, quarterback Dan Pastorini continued the surge, Behind the NFL's best pass protection, he found number 88 Richard Castor for the winning touchdown. At climax, 26 unanswered points and a dramatic 26-23 Houston come-from-behind victory.